Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Bala Girivana Dari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Bala Girivana Dari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Bala Girivana Dari Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Bala Girivana Dari Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parabhajakacharya Asutarasutta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupad Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories of Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bachani Nir Vishesa Sunyavari Pasakajate Satani. Hare Krishna. So there's no board here. So I think I'm just supposed to speak about Srila Prabhupada this morning. We're skipping the verse. Srila Prabhupada is person Bhagavat, person Bhagavatam. Everything you read in the Bhagavatam, everything we read in Bhagavad Gita, we try to understand how to be a devotee. Prabhupada was the living, walking example of everything you can do as a devotee. So I'm here just for a few hours. This afternoon I go to Chaupati Temple, and then tomorrow morning Mira Road Temple, and tomorrow afternoon I'll be at Govardhan Eco Village. I came from Vrindavan. I was there for Kartik. And then I was in Delhi. I just had 2, we call them implants, drilled in. If you want to understand your level of advancement, how much you understand you're not this body, go to the dentist. Very quickly you'll know if you're unaffected. Prabhupada uses that word. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada says, the pure devotee, he's unaffected by the threefold miseries. I can tell you I was not unaffected when I was in the chair the other day, so I was definitely feeling the threefold miseries. So, Prabhu, he was asking me, if, of course, to speak about Prabhupada in Mumbai, Bombay, Juhu, which is not a difficult thing to do. When I come here, this temple is very special. Everything's very special. Prabhupada, he would use sometimes the phrase, something was most important. He would say that about book distribution. Most important to distribute books. But he would say it about deity worship, most important. Chanting your 16 rounds, most important. It doesn't mean that other things are less important. So he would speak like that. Everything we do is most important. There's no rituals we're doing. Everything we do is person. They say one thing you learn with Prabhupada is everything has personality. Everything is personal. Everything we do is personal. They say Prabhupada, he would see the bead bag, hanging on the doorknob. He said to me, whose bead bag is crying? Crying. Person means person. He would see a plate of prasadam sitting on the table, no one there. Whose prasadam is crying on the table? Everything is personal. I see the kirtan this morning. Very wonderful temple, very enthusiastic devotees. This is Prabhupada's mercy on you. Say there is no temple in ISKCON that Prabhupada worked harder to establish. no temple. This temple, Juhu temple. From the moment I became Prabhupada's servant, I would hear about Juhu. I didn't know anything. I'm from Philadelphia, big city, 5 million people in the USA, so I joined 1971. I became Prabhupada's servant, Kartik, right after John Mastami, 1972. And regularly I would hear letters, telegrams about Juhu, about Mr. Nair, this person. He seemed like he was like David Gorilla, this man. He was such a demoniac man. He tried to take the property back from Srila Prabhupada. Nowhere else did Prabhupada spend more of his time than making sure that this place was secure for Radha Rasa Bahari. When I came here in 1973, there was a little, are there pictures? There must be pictures of the original temple with the tin roof. The entire temple was no bigger than the deity's room. That was the temple, all open. But as soon as Prabhupada purchased this property, he put Radha Rasa Bahari on it in the middle of this fishing village, Juhu, a fishing village. Had mosquitoes this big, rats this big. And Prabhupada placed his disciples here, almost a dozen disciples. And constantly he was coming back to this place. He was in 1972, I joined him, so he went to Vrindavan for the entire month of Kartik. That means that year it was October 15th to November 13th, something. So he spent the entire month in Vrindavan. But there were a few times during that month he thought of coming here to secure this property. So then, after Vrindavan, he went to Hyderabad. He did a Pandal in Hyderabad, then he did a Pandal in Ahmedabad, and then he came here. And he had the Pandal here. It was the second year, I think, across Maidan. And then he went off to Australia and New Zealand. So one day I was massaging Prabhupada. This was in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. It was just a house, 3 devotees in it at the time, Siddha Swarup, Tushta Krishna Swami, Siddha Swarup. So I'm massaging Prabhupada before lunch. It means I'm in the gamcha, he's in the gamcha, sitting on the floor, just on a straw mat. I'm rubbing his back. And Tushta Krishna comes. He said, Prabhupada, there's a phone call for you. That in itself was very, very rare. I was with Prabhupada 2.5 years. I think 2 phone calls. I saw him on the phone twice. What would you do? Prabhupada said, everyone, get rid of your phones. No more phone calls. No more. Prabhupada never used the telephone. So now there's this phone call. Tushta says, Prabhupada, the phone. Prabhupada said, see what it is. So he didn't even get up from massage to see. So I get on the phone, then I come back, and I just come to the doorway of the room Prabhupada's sitting in, and he's just looking at the door. It's a phone call. It has to be something very, very special. So he's looking, and I come to the doorway, and I said, Prabhupada, Mr. Nair died. This was it. This was the person who just harassed Prabhupada constantly. All of his disciples. Prabhupada would say some of his disciples, he said, you have cow dung for brains. No brain. He would tell his disciples because they were constantly giving this property back. They didn't know how to deal with this very shrewd man. But now I came in and he said, Prabhupada, Mr. Nair died. Prabhupada looked at me and went, thank you, Krishna. I was a new devotee. I'd just been a devotee for 1.5 years. I'm thinking, Prabhupada's angry, or happy, someone died. I couldn't understand it at the time. I didn't know who Mr. Nair was. I didn't know what was going on here. This battle, constant battle. But Prabhupada was happy. So then I went, and I sat down behind him, and I'm rubbing his back, and I'm thinking. And Prabhupada just starts talking. Prabhupada was very happy. He said he was such a demon. He said he caused so much difficulty, he said, for all of the devotees. He said, and for the deities. He said, I told them, Radha Rasa Bahari, you stay here in this little plot, little tin roof over your head. He said, but I promise I will build you a very big, beautiful temple. Prabhupada's desire for this place was so strong, stronger than anywhere, in my humble opinion. He endeavored more to put you here than anything else he had to do. Once, when I was a brahmachari, Prabhupada, every day I would bring him his lunch. 2.5 years. So I come in, I put the lunch on the table and offer obeisances. While I was offering obeisances, he said, being a brahmachari is an austerity. He said, and being a grahasta is an austerity. You just have to decide which austerity you want. And then he started eating, so I left the room. 24 hours later, I put the plate down on his table and I offer obeisances. While I'm offering obeisances, he says, it was more difficult managing my household life than it is to manage ISKCON. All you brahmacharis, listen. It was more difficult, he said, to manage his household life than it was managing the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But of everything within this society, there was nothing more troublesome than getting this property, securing this property for Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bahari. So that was Prabhupada's desire. It was his prayer all the time. So he said, this man has made so many difficulties. He said, and I told them, the deities, you please stay. He said, even my disciples, they were saying, Prabhupada, forget that property. We have so much money, we can just buy another property. But Prabhupada's idea was, no, once Krishna was there, you're not removing him. And this is what he said. Once I put them deities there, he said, there is no question of returning this land. And he worked to accomplish that. So then, when Prabhupada was talking, I could understand what a demon this Mr. Nair was. And Prabhupada said, last time he visited me, which was here, right on this property, Prabhupada spent months and months sitting right here on this property. We were just doing 9th canto in Vrindavan during Kartik, talking about Ganges. She had 2 requests, right? In order to come to the earthly planet, she had 2 requests. One was, I have to go, it has to be broken up by a very powerful man, Lord Shiva, who would go through his. And then her other request was that the pure devotees would come and bathe in her waters. And again, then the waters would become purified. So this was Prabhupada's business. Just delivering the Maha Mantra, but everywhere he stepped became a tirtha. What to speak of every place he stepped, all over here. This place is sacred. When I come here, just hearing Mangalarti this morning, just seeing the devotees, this is a very powerful temple Prabhupada has here. Because he put so much energy, like Vrindavan. Vrindavan was the only temple Prabhupada supervised the construction, because it was Vrindavan, his home. But this place, Prabhupada, also most important. Prabhupada told me he had 2 favorite places in the world. He had so many ways of describing things so that we would become attached. What Prabhupada said, my home is Vrindavan. Mayapur is my place of worship. And Juhu, what is Juhu? Office. So he made also, that means he's saying most important. Everywhere he resides is most important. This is his home. This is his office. You can feel his presence here. You can see him on the Vyasasan, very beautiful Murti on the Vyasasan. Yeah. So Prabhupada struggled so that you could be here very happily, not experiencing any struggles. He said, I saw Mr. Nair, was up in the, Prabhupada was on the 2nd floor, one of the flats. I don't know where the flats were, here, over there were the flats. So Prabhupada was on the 2nd floor. And he said, last time I saw Mr. Nair, he said he was limping, limping his leg. He said, and I saw him and I thought, he's a very strong man. Prabhupada was at the massage, he was saying, he's a very strong man. But when I saw him, he was limping. And I thought, Krishna's going to kill him. And he said, and actually, Krishna has killed him. Imagine Prabhupada's desire, his potency. The only thing interfering in establishing this temple was Mr. Nair. So Krishna just eliminated him. At that same time, I told you, Tushta Krishna. Tushta Krishna was one of the first temple presidents here in Juhu. So he received the phone call. Krishna is very interesting how everything connected. Prabhupada wrote a letter to him a month later, to Tushta Krishna Maharaj. Tushta Krishna, my godbrother, our godbrother, he was the godbrother of Siddha Swarup, Ananda Goswami, Prabhupada named him. He became very famous, Siddha Swarup. He started the very first Krishna West back in 1973. He had followers when Prabhupada had followers. He brought all of his followers to Prabhupada, over 100 dedicated disciples. But he was seen as a very special, advanced devotee. Because he had attracted followers, so many followers. At that time, no one. Prabhupada had followers. If we went to Vrindavan in the 70s, if you saw a person that wasn't brown-skinned, you saw a white person, he was an ISKCON devotee. You didn't have to think, where did this person come from? Everyone at that time were ISKCON devotees. But this devotee was considered advanced by many. So Tushta Krishna wrote to Prabhupada and he asked him, he said he just wanted to follow this one devotee, Siddha Swarup, because he was very advanced. He's a pure devotee. He said to Prabhupada, he's pure devotee. He asked 10 questions. Prabhupada answered every question just as it was asked. He didn't place a higher value on one and ignore others. This was how Prabhupada dealt with us. You asked him a question, immediately he would give you the answer. In this way, he answered all of his questions. And he said, what is this? Siddha is pure devotee. He said, sure, Siddha Swarup is pure devotee. He said also, Asiddha Swarup, not Siddha Swarup. He said, also pure devotee. He said, all of my disciples, they are pure devotees. He said, if they're following sincerely, they are pure devotees. He said, why are you saying Siddha Swarup, pure devotee? He said, Siddha Swarup is pure devotee. He said, Shyamasundar Sundar is pure devotee. He said, all my disciples. He said, and all the devotees in ISKCON, he said, they will go back to Godhead. He said, and we will have ISKCON in the spiritual sky. He said, and everyone will be there except Mr. Nair. Imagine this person, Mr. Nair. I never heard Prabhupada condemn anyone, but he said that Mr. Nair, he wasn't coming back. He made very many difficulties. But the harder we work, just see the result. Huh? The more endeavor that's put into an activity, the greater the result, the greater the satisfaction. So this temple is one of the most important temples, most beautiful temple in our whole society. But it's all because of Prabhupada. This is our understanding. Nothing I'm doing, we're all helping, but it was Prabhupada's desire for this place, to establish this place, very special. So it goes on in this way. And he said these people, they come, they offer respects. He said they take a little prashadam, they offer their respects to the deities. He said if they do nothing else in this lifetime, they're successful. They've assured themselves success just by doing this. So this is all of your business here. So many things happened here. I first came here, we were staying at Mr. Mahadev, Kartikeya Mahadevia's place. So that's where we started out. There was not a center. So Prabhupada was staying at one of his, he was very, very receptive, Kartikeya. So we stayed there. He cleared out his entire flat for us. And I remember at that time, I had been in India now for 3 months. So in the course of 3 months, I had malaria, jaundice, and of course, constant dysentery. So 3 months, I couldn't wait to get out of India. Couldn't wait to go back anywhere in the West to become healthy. So one day, there's a meeting in Prabhupada's room there at Kartikeya's house. Gargamuni's there. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is there. All the leaders were there. And Prabhupada had received a letter from a life member. Back in those days, you could become a life member for 1,111 rupees. So that was about $120 at that time. It was 7 rupees to $1. Now it's 70 rupees, 10 times. So the process was, Prabhupada knew everything. He went to the West, he had Harinam in the streets, and then book distribution. But here, he knew that was not the method. In fact, Harinam, he said, they'll think we're just funny people in the street chanting and dancing. So he did the life membership, books, stacks of books. 1972, there were that many books. But there was a guarantee. As when a book comes out, you get it. When the BTG comes out every month, you get it. That was life membership. And you got to stay anywhere in the world for 3 days in an ISKCON temple. So people were very happily, he knows, he's laughing, Devaki Nanda, he made 1 million life members. So this, but now the letters were coming saying we weren't fulfilling our obligations. People were saying, where's my books? Where's my magazine? Where's my life membership card? So this was my first experience of Prabhupada having a meeting with his devotees and chastising them because they weren't doing it right. And Prabhupada saying, they're writing, he said, if you don't do this, he said, we have to leave India. He said, if you don't get this right, he said, we'll have to leave. And I'm in the corner thinking, Yay! Prabhupada's going to leave India. Finally! That's all I wanted to hear was Prabhupada was going to leave India at some point. And I didn't know at that time, but Prabhupada, he would say things to shake you up. He would just shake. There was a song in the shake, rattle, and roll. He would shake you. Say, if you can't do this, we have to leave. And I'm thinking, yes. But he wasn't going to go anywhere, but he was just letting them know how important it was that we say something and we carry it out. Not just that we talk very nicely. Huh? We say you have to walk the talk. You have to do what you say. So this was always Prabhupada's process. So here he kept saying you have to take care of them. So he established that very early on, this life membership program for the devotees. So everyone would go out in this way and they would distribute their books. So then, of course, I was saying how important. Huh? It was right here. There used to be a garden as well over there. That Kanva had built one garden back in the 70s. So Prabhupada would come down the stairs for his morning walk, which meant on the beach. Prabhupada told you he loved the beach. Huh? He said 2 favorite places in the whole world. What are they? Hawaii and Juhu. He didn't say Vrindavan and Mayapur. See, Prabhupada would say things just to endear us to him and to endear us to different situations. So he said, my favorite places in the whole world were Juhu and Hawaii. Why? Dab. Here in Juhu, Dab. Every day, every afternoon, Dab. Prabhupada had a gold straw. This is Juhu. Prabhupada had a gold straw here. He didn't have a plastic straw, paper straw, silver. He had a gold straw. So every day after his nap, he would take lunch 1 o'clock, then he would rest half an hour. So in those flats, my room was the living room area. That was my room. So Prabhupada had a sitting room and he had a bedroom. And I would just sit. So after his nap, he would come out of the bedroom and he would walk to the bathroom. So this was nap. And he wouldn't look at me. He just would walk, and he was walking, Dab. That's all you heard out of his mouth, Dab. So then I would run into the kitchen, cut the dab, put the straw, go back. So every day he would have that dab. So he liked very much. And that time, I said, in Juhu was very special for me as well. Prabhupada gave me different instructions here in Juhu. One thing as I look out, it was here in Juhu, 1973. I was a brahmachari for 2 years. So 1973, we had gone through England. And one of my godbrothers, Jai Hari, he was from Pakistan, devotee. He was a brahmachari. But he was very, flashy. He dressed very nice. So when we were in England, he gave me an outfit. He actually gave me a set of clothes. The only person in my whole life. It was a kurta and dhoti. It was saffron. But it was silk. And it wasn't just, it was polished silk. Very shiny, very, very beautiful. And it fit perfectly somehow. But I never wore it because it was silk, saffron. I was a brahmachari and it looked way too dressy. So coming to India, of course, everything changes because now you have to do your laundry. There's no washing machines and dryers. And so I ran out of clothes. So that was the only outfit I had. So I put it on. This nice kurta dhoti. And Prabhupada rang the bell. It was after lunch. I go in and I offer obeisances. And I sit up, and he looks at me. His eyes got all big. He said, "You look like you just came from Vaikuntha." He was very happy to see me dressed very nicely. This is one of the things, when Prabhupada came to India, he wanted to present us as being first-class Western Vaishnavas who dress very nicely. He always liked to see us dress very nicely. He wrote one of the Matajis, but back in the 70s, we were very austere. Krishna consciousness, we were very austere in those days. We didn't have anything. We didn't want anything. We just wanted to serve Krishna. That's all we cared to do. So one woman, she was a Grahasta lady, and she wrote Prabhupada because she also wanted to be, everybody wanted to be a sannyasi. Now, of course, sannyasi, you can be sannyasi and be pretty opulent. But the idea was very renounced. So we all wanted that. We renounced. We left our home. We left our families. We were in the West. We all had very simple, easy lives, but we left it to be devotees. So this woman, she wrote Prabhupada because she was thinking she didn't like putting on these dressy saris, colorful saris, things, And she wrote Prabhupada. So Prabhupada wrote back, said, "You should dress very nicely for Krishna." He said, "Krishna doesn't like ugly gopis." Who likes ugly? No one likes ugly. Krishna doesn't like ugly. So whatever we do for Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure. We dance for Krishna. We chant for Krishna. We dress very nicely for Krishna. So that when people see Vaishnavas, they become happy. Prabhupada would get off of the airplane before the plane would land. As soon as the plane would land, point means get the garlands, because the garlands were above. He'd put it on, make sure that it was just right. He put his tilak on, he fixed his dhoti, kurta, everything. This is Vaishnava. We present ourselves very nicely so that people appreciate the simple process. So here every day Prabhupada would have his lunch. Palika was cooking at that time. So I had actually, it was the only time, I was with Prabhupada 24 hours a day in my room. Whatever room it was, just outside Prabhupada's room, that was my room, because you have to hear the bell. One day in Los Angeles, my godbrothers convinced me to go to Mangal Artik. I never went to Mangal Artik, never thought about it. My job was sitting in my room. I never thought, but I knew I had to be there. So I went because my godbrothers convinced me in New Dwarka. And Prabhupada never called me in the morning, never. Didn't disturb your rest. Of course, while I'm at Mangal Artik, he rang the bell. So halfway through Mangal Artik, Prajumna taps me on the shoulder, Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor, Panditji, Prabhupada called him. Prabhupada wants to see you. There was a mantra we had. When you traveled with Prabhupada, there was a few different mantras. This was one of them. Prabhupada wants to see you and he's really mad. We would say that to one another. And when you would say it, you said it with a smile. Prabhupada wants to see you and he's really mad. Because you were happy. Because he wasn't mad at you this time. He wasn't angry. He was angry with someone else, so we took pleasure knowing someone else is being chastised. Isn't it like that? This is how we were. So Prabhupada wants to see you when he's really mad. I said it many times to my godbrother. I said, "Oh, Krishna." I knew what happened. He knew I wasn't in my room. He knew everything. So I go up, I offer obeisances, and while I'm on the ground, he's already yelling, "Where have you been? I've been ringing this bell for hours." 2 minutes. But that's what he would, "I've been ringing it for hours." I sat up. I said, "Prabhupada, I went to Mangal Artik." "You have no business going to Mangal Artik." I was in Maya because I went to Mangal Artik. No one else in the whole universe is in Maya for going to Mangal Artik. We're in Maya for not going to Mangal Artik. I was in Maya because I went to Mangal Artik, because it wasn't my service. My service was sitting in my room waiting for Prabhupada to ring the bell. And he said, "Your service," he said, "is sitting in that room." "What if I want something?" He said, "What should I do?" "Yes, Prabhupada." So I never went to Mangal Artik again. Everyone here, if we don't go, we're in Maya. Huh? But I went and I was in Maya. Which means to become Krishna conscious, you have to use your head. You have to think. Like sometimes devotee will come to me and they'll tell me the service they're doing, the service they like to do, and the service they want to do, and what do I think? And I'll say, "Do you have a guru?" And they'll say, "Yes." I say, "Well, why are you asking me? Ask your spiritual master." Well, why are they asking me? They're asking me because they see me. Prabhupada said I was easygoing. Once they said Shruta Kirti should be temple president in Hawaii, Prabhupada laughed. He said, "He's too easygoing." Manager means he's not easygoing. It means he's going to tell you what to do. And sometimes he's going to chastise you. That's manager. But that wasn't me. I was too easygoing. So that people come to me and say, "Is it okay, I'll do this?" And I'll say, "Ask your spiritual master," because they want something easygoing. Then don't take a spiritual master. If you want an easy life, do not take a spiritual master in ISKCON. Because Prabhupada's method was preaching, preaching, and preaching. Somehow or other, whatever you do, it has to be involved in preaching, whether worshiping the deities, working in the kitchen, distributing books. This society, and no more than this place, did Prabhupada emphasize preaching. So this is all of our business. So one day, after massage, lunchtime, so because Palika was cooking, I had free time. So me and my godbrothers, Paramahamsa Swami and Nitai, we would go to the beach. We'd go to Juhu Beach. We were the only people that would sit on the beach because we were Westerners, we were Americans. We sat on the beach, blazing sun. We'd go swim in the water. No one else is doing these things. They're walking around. But we're swimming, going in the water. So this went on every day because I had like an hour and a half where I thought I didn't have to be in my room because Prabhupada's resting and taking lunch. So after a few days, Nitai said, "I have too much work to do." He said, "I have lots of translation work." He said, "I can't go anymore." So another day, Paramahamsa said, "I have lots of letters." He was a secretary, so he had to type the letters, respond to all the letters. But I kept going by myself to the beach, going for a little. It was my free time. I never had free time. It was like an hour that I was allowed out of my room. So one day I come back from the beach and Paramahamsa comes up to me. What does he say? "Prabhupada wants to see you and he's really mad." He said the mantra. This is the mantra. "This was our pleasure. Prabhupada's mad at you." Because it was all, in one hand, it was very playful. Prabhupada enjoyed us so much. He loved us so much. Even in his chastisement. Sometimes he would chastise, you knew there was a smile behind his face, even though he wasn't smiling at you. So I went in and I offered obeisances. And I'm right beside Prabhupada. If you look in his rooms, Prabhupada's sitting on the floor on a cushion, bolsters. So instead of being in front of him, which is formal, I offered obeisances beside him, which is very informal. It's very intimate. I would do that, come right up. And I offered obeisances, and I know I'm going to be chastised. I already know. And I offer obeisances right here, and I said, "You wanted to see me, Prabhupada?" No. So now already I know Prabhupada's not telling the truth. Because he said, "Where's Shruta Kirti?" So I said, so now I have to figure out how to be tricky. It was always my process, was trying to be tricky. Prabhupada's process was, "I don't accept your trickiness." So the more you tried to fool him, the more he would press you to tell the truth. So I said, "Prabhupada, you wanted to see me?" No. I said, "Paramahamsa said you wanted to see me?" No. So now I have to keep. I said, "Because I was at the beach swimming." He said, "Oh, you're swimming?" "Yes, Prabhupada." I said, "We were going every day." I said, "But they stopped." I said, "But I kept going." "But Paramahamsa said you were upset that I went." "No," he said, "Swimming is a Vaishnava activity." "Yes, Prabhupada." I never went swimming again. So he said, "You're going every day?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're going by yourself?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Is that all right?" He said, "Yes, it's all right." But I never went again. So that's how Prabhupada sometimes deal with things. You never knew. But it was always so much fun. Because you didn't know how he would respond to things. Something you thought he would get mad at, he didn't bother. When Hari Sari was his servant, became his servant after me, the end of 75. So in 1976, in Detroit Temple, big beautiful temple, right? That was, anyway, that Alfred Ford bought. So I was in the room, sitting in the room with Prabhupada, and Hari Sari came in to give Prabhupada his massage. So he's in his gamcha. So he came in, just gamcha. So I saw him, and I said to Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, Hari Sari looks like he could give a very good massage." Prabhupada laughed. He said, "Yes, his defect is he can't cook." So as soon as I complimented him, Prabhupada immediately chastised. He said, his difficulty is he can't cook. This is how Prabhupada would do things. He didn't let you become proud. He said, "Yes." He said, "Very nice massage." He said, "But defect is can't cook." And then he looked at Hari Sari and he looked at me. He said, "He is a very good cook." So Prabhupada would chastise us in front of others. And when you weren't around, he would glorify you, his disciples. He would say how wonderful. We gave up millions of dollars, we gave up beautiful houses, we gave up degrees, English, so many things. But in front of you, not so much. Tamal Krishna Maharaj said to him, Shruta Kirti, he loved my cooking, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He said, "Shruta Kirti Prabhupada, he's an expert cook." Prabhupada said, "Yes, he makes very nice American prasadam." Remember that when you, yes, American prasadam, not too spicy. But Prabhupada ate that for 2 years, over 2 years. Prabhupada ate very simple, spicing, very simple. We had our little spice container back then, 1972. Cumin, mustard seed, coriander, chili, turmeric, and hing. Basically, that went into everything I made, different variations of that. So, we can, questions, more talking? Continue, okay. Anyone, anything, questions about Prabhupada here in Juhu Temple, Mumbai? Any questions, or I can go on? Hare Krishna. About how? One thing I wanted to say when he came here, and this is, again, very important. Prabhupada, he had many sayings. Huh? One of them was, do the needful. Do the needful, he would say. I was saying on a morning walk, Prabhupada going down the stairs, and when he came to the garden, there was a little garden, very beautiful garden, and all the devotees were right there. So there's 30 devotees standing there as Prabhupada would go on the morning walk. And everyone offered obeisances. But one, he was a young Indian boy, devotee, and he stood like that. And Prabhupada kept walking, and he just turned and he looked at me. He said, that is the beginning of his fall down. Imagine such a simple thing. Huh? We think it's so simple. It's like we come in and out of the temple room 10 times, 20 times, each time little less. Sometimes maybe none. I was with Prabhupada. Sometimes I would offer my obeisances maybe 30, 40 times in a day in his room. Every time I went in, I would offer obeisances. Every time I left, I would offer obeisances. During lunchtime, I would bring him a chapati one at a time. Every time I would have it on the plate, slide it, puffed up chapati, have to puff up, a little ghee on the top. I slide it on the plate, offer obeisances, and I'd leave the room, make another chapati, run back in the room, put it on his plate, offer obeisances. So you do that 5, 6 times. Then maybe you bring in a little sabji here or there. So maybe during lunchtime, 10 times, 12 times. Prabhupada never said to me, you've done it enough today. You've worshipped me enough. You've put your head on the floor enough today. He never, ever said it. I can only think it was very much to my benefit offering obeisances so many times in front of Srila Prabhupada. And I never thought, I've done it enough. It's just what you did. Just like I didn't go to Mangalartik. There was just an intuition of what was supposed to be done. Devotees would ask me, did you offer, when you cooked for Prabhupada, did you offer it? Did you offer it? What do you do? I said, yes, I would cook. I'd put it on the plate. I'd go into the room and offer it to him, put it down on the table. There were no prayers. He was right there. You have to, Krishna consciousness, you have to use your intelligence. You have to think. Prabhupada here in India, he was on the train back in those days. The wonderful trains in India. Every station you can eat, feast, hundreds of things. So Prabhupada stopped at one place. He said, you can get some kachoris from this person. He said, cooked in ghee, they're okay. Get the kachoris. So the devotee bought kachoris. And the train stopped. Probably comes back in the train, sits down. He cleans the table, puts the kachoris on the table. And then he gets down on the ground. And Prabhupada says, what are you doing? He said, I'm offering. He said, I'm right here. You understand? We do all these things, because of physical presence. That Vapu is gone. But when Prabhupada was here, you served directly. So when I cooked for him, I just gave it to him. Who am I going to offer it to? Is all we ever do is offer to Prabhupada. One thing sometimes I get my godbrothers upset because they have their disciples. So I'll say, your disciples, when they cook, who do they offer it to? And they always say, Prabhupada. And I say, how? He's your disciple. He has to offer it to you. Anyway, that's technicality we don't need. But this is what we do. The guru, and that's why we take the guru. This stuff, and Prabhupada says so many things. He says, just reading my books, one becomes disciple. I hear that story. Yes, if we follow everything, we become. But one has to take a guru. Otherwise, there's no question of humility. Because the guru chastises you. Someone will come up to you and say your guru wants to see you and he's really mad. We don't like to hear that. Our false ego, we don't want to be told what to do. So accepting initiation, everything you're going to be told what to do until you know how to do it yourself. At a kirtan, it was right here, someone was playing the kartals by Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was leading, but this devotee was not, he was speeding it up. So Prabhupada stopped. He said, first learn to follow, then you can lead. That's a very profound and very simple instruction for that. But that's our whole business in Krishna consciousness. You have to learn from the spiritual master how to be a leader. Prabhupada wanted all of us to be leaders, to lead others to Krishna. But to do it, you have to become proper follower. And that's what the guru does. He smashes your false ego over and over again. And that's what I see. The times when I would walk in his room, I was already smashed. And then he didn't smash me. I was already down. He said everything is okay. But if he saw a little bit of pride, he knew how to deal with it. Very easy. Very easy he could pick out so many things. But he saw the good. He sees the good in all of us. You're all here by Prabhupada's mercy. If you're here, you are connected to Srila Prabhupada. What's he say? ISKCON. He said, ISKCON is my body. So again, and he said another place, he said, I am ISKCON. He said, what is the wrong there? He said, I have made just like the Son. The Father can say, he's me. He's nothing but me. My Son is me. He said in that way, he said, I am ISKCON. And he would say, ISKCON. So to be involved is all I want to do. Stay close to Srila Prabhupada within his ISKCON society, and he takes care of everything else. You don't have to worry. He said you chant your 16 rounds, you follow the regulative principles, read my books. He said you engage in devotional service at the end of this life, go back home, back to Godhead. Very simple. Any other questions? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We are simple devotees, we are not masters or anything. So suppose we encounter egoistic person in our life, egoistic people. Should we equally love and care for them? Should we correct them? Should we chastise them? Or should we avoid them?
You said street people?
Egoistic.
Huh? Egoistic. Everyone is egoistic. That's why we're here. We're here because of false ego.
But highly egoistic.
Yeah. We have material world as prison house, temple is the hospital. So we are trying to get everyone involved in the hospital here. We ourselves are also in the hospital. That's what's so wonderful in Krishna consciousness, is that Krishna and the spiritual master, they use us conditioned souls to spread Krishna consciousness. And by doing it, we become Krishna conscious. Such an amazing, simple process. Is all you have to do, is be involved. Just chant. Anything we get involved, this process, then immediately we know. It was here, I told you about India. So we were in Hawaii, Prabhupada, on a morning walk in Hawaii. So Hawaii is similar to here, but very opulent, very beautiful, very clean, everything's nice. So on the morning walk, Prabhupada was saying, if you don't finish your business, you come back. This is our gift. Anything you do in Krishna consciousness is never lost. So you come back and you start at that place. So Prabhupada said on the walk, he said, and you take birth, he said, in nice Brahmin family, wealthy family in India like that. So we were all on the morning walk, and we had just come back from 3 months in India. So this was myself, Paramahamsa, and Nitai. So as soon as we hear we have to take birth in India, we became a little upset. We thought we have to finish our business. So after the walk, Prabhupada gets in the car. He's sitting in the front seat next to the driver, and the three of us are in the back seat. So now they're, Shruta Kirti, ask Prabhupada, do we have to take birth in India? We were very allergic to India. Ask, and I'm there, you ask. You want to ask, you ask. I'm not asking. Anyway, they made me ask. I was the head person at that time. And I knew how to phrase my questions. Prabhupada, on the morning walk, you were saying, if we don't finish our business, then we come back and take birth. Yes, Prabhupada said, you come back, take birth in a nice Brahmin family in India. I said, well, Prabhupada, our question is, do we have to take birth in India? In a devotee family in India? And Prabhupada said, no. He said, we have established centers all over the world. He said, so anywhere, he said, one can take birth as a devotee. So we were very happy at that time. But now, all the opulence is in India. You see, if you dare go on social media and look at the news, you'll see homeless people in the streets all over in the USA, in big cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco. I mean, tens of thousands of people living on the streets. This is Kali Yuga. It's just the beginning. Prabhupada said, do your business and get out of here. It's not a nice place to stay. Okay. Should we go on or stop?
One question.
One question. Yes, your question.
Since you mentioned about his morning walks, Prabhuji, first of all, thank you so much for the wonderful reminiscence and pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, especially here at Juhu. Do you remember anything in particular with Dr. Bhogilal Patel in the morning walks? Any one particular, I know there were many, but anything that really strikes and it's something that you want to just highlight?
I remember him every morning. See, we saw that he was harassing Prabhupada, but Prabhupada wasn't harassed. Prabhupada enjoyed, what do you call, like sword fighting. What is sword fighting called?
Lasso. The lasso.
Yeah, he enjoyed fighting with him. He enjoyed anything he said. But it was amazing we didn't strangle him every day. As Prabhupada's disciples, we found them very, very offensive to Prabhupada. And we just wanted basically to kill him. But it was very, I don't remember, all the walks are there. You can see them on audios, and I was recording them many mornings. I remember the big 747s flying overhead at Juhu Beach. And we would look at them, me and my godbrothers. We think, when will we be on that 747? You have to understand, things were very difficult here, you know. There are many devotees. They gave up many years so that you could be here very comfortably. We owe them a lot, these devotees, huh? So many devotees. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. This is a quick trip. I'm off. I speak at Chowpatty this afternoon, and then I speak at Mira Road tomorrow morning, and then I go to Govardhan Eco Village. So I'll be back here again. I moved to Vrindavan. So somehow or other, we're living in Vrindavan, my wife and I. We're headed to Mauritius, South Africa, and Nairobi for the next 2.5 months. But then I'll come back and we can set up programs on this side for sure. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Grace Shruta Kirti Prabhu ki.